India, a nation of over 1 billion people, is a tapestry of languages, religions, castes, and cultures. Its diversity is its strength, but also the source of many of its challenges. To understand the complexities of systemic inequality in India, especially concerning caste, religion, and politics, it is essential to look not just at current events, but at the historical and social frameworks that have shaped modern India. The story of inequality in India begins long before independence. For centuries, hierarchical structures like the caste system dictated the social, economic, and political lives of millions. Dalits, previously known as untouchables, and tribal communities were systematically excluded from many aspects of public life. Colonial rule, while introducing new legal systems, did little to dismantle these hierarchies. In some cases, colonial policies even reinforced them. Following independence in 1947, India's framers, led by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, himself a Dalit, sought to create a more just and equal society through a robust constitution. The Indian Constitution is one of the world's most progressive documents, guaranteeing equality before the law and prohibiting discrimination based on religion, caste, sex, or place of birth. Affirmative action policies, known as reservations, were instituted to help uplift marginalized groups, especially scheduled castes, Dalits, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. Despite these safeguards, the lived reality for many in India remains starkly unequal. Dalits, for example, continue to face discrimination and violence. Reports of atrocities, ranging from social ostracism to physical assaults, persist in both rural and urban areas. Access to quality education, healthcare, and employment remains limited, perpetuating cycles of poverty and exclusion. Efforts by activists and civil society have brought these issues into the national conversation, but progress is slow and often met with resistance. Muslims, India's largest religious minority, have also faced periods of marginalization and violence. Tensions between religious communities have deep historical roots, but recent years have seen a rise in communal rhetoric and incidents. Policies such as the Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, and the proposed National Register of Citizens, NRC, have sparked widespread protests, with critics arguing that they discriminate against Muslims and threaten the secular fabric of the nation. The government maintains that these laws are necessary for national security and to protect persecuted minorities from neighboring countries. But the debate continues to polarize Indian society. The political landscape in India has shifted significantly over the past few decades. The rise of the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, with its roots in Hindu nationalist ideology, has changed the tenor of national discourse. While the BJP enjoys widespread support and has implemented policies aimed at economic development and national security, critics argue that its approach often sidelines minorities and emphasizes a majoritarian vision of India. This has led to concerns about the erosion of India's secular traditions, which have been a cornerstone of its democracy. It is also important to recognize the role of economic inequality in exacerbating social divides. India's economic growth since the 1990s has lifted millions out of poverty, but it has also created new disparities. Wealth is increasingly concentrated among a small elite, while vast swaths of the population remain vulnerable to unemployment, undereducation, and inadequate health care. These challenges are particularly acute for marginalized groups, who often lack access to the resources and networks needed to benefit from economic opportunities. Civil society organizations, journalists, and the judiciary have played crucial roles in highlighting and challenging systemic inequality. Human rights groups such as Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and Indian organizations like the People's Union for Civil Liberties, PUCL, regularly document and publicize abuses. Independent media outlets, including The Wire, Scroll, The Caravan, and NDTV, have been at the forefront of investigative reporting, often at significant personal and professional risk. The judiciary, while not immune to political pressures, has at times acted as a check on executive overreach, upholding the rights of marginalized communities. Yet, these institutions themselves face increasing challenges. Restrictions on non-governmental organizations, attacks on press freedom, and attempts to influence the judiciary have raised concerns about the health of India's democracy. Activists, journalists, and dissenters have faced intimidation, legal harassment, and even violence. Despite these obstacles, many continue to speak out, drawing attention to injustices and advocating for change. Education is often cited as a key to breaking the cycle of inequality. In recent years, there has been a push to improve access to quality education for all, with initiatives like the Right to Education Act aiming to make schooling universal and free. However, disparities persist, particularly for students from Dalit, tribal, and economically disadvantaged backgrounds. Dropout rates remain high, and many schools lack basic infrastructure and trained teachers. Affirmative action policies in higher education have helped create new opportunities, but social and economic barriers continue to limit their effectiveness. Healthcare is another area where inequality is starkly visible. While India has made significant strides in public health, including the eradication of diseases like polio, access to quality healthcare remains uneven. Rural areas and marginalized communities often lack medical facilities, trained personnel, and affordable medicines. The COVID-19 pandemic laid bare these disparities, with vulnerable groups bearing the brunt of the crisis. The fight against systemic inequality in India is ongoing and multifaceted. Legal reforms, policy initiatives, and social movements have all played roles in pushing for a more inclusive society. The Dalit movement, for example, has achieved significant gains in political representation and social awareness, even as challenges persist. Women's movements have highlighted the intersectionality of caste, gender, and economic status, advocating for the rights of all marginalized groups. Religion continues to be a powerful force in Indian society, shaping identities, politics, and daily life. While the Constitution guarantees freedom of religion, tensions and prejudices often spill over into violence and discrimination. It is crucial to recognize that these issues are not unique to any one community. All groups have experienced periods of vulnerability and marginalization at different times in India's history. The question of how to address systemic inequality in India does not have easy answers. It requires sustained commitment from government, civil society, and ordinary citizens. It demands honest conversations about history, privilege, and power, as well as concrete action to dismantle barriers and create opportunities for all. One way to engage with these issues is by educating oneself. Reading widely, from both mainstream and independent news sources, provides a more nuanced understanding of current events. Studying the Constitution and the rights it guarantees can empower individuals to demand accountability from those in power. Supporting human rights organizations and participating in grassroots movements can amplify the voices of those who are often unheard. It is also important to listen to the experiences of people from marginalized communities. Their stories provide invaluable insights into the realities of discrimination and resilience. By building solidarity across lines of caste, religion, and class, it is possible to foster a more inclusive and just society. India's diversity is a source of immense strength, but it also requires constant negotiation and vigilance. The challenges of systemic inequality are daunting, but they are not insurmountable. The history of India is full of examples of people coming together to demand justice, equality, and dignity for all. The task now is to continue that struggle, ensuring that the promise of the Constitution becomes a reality for every citizen. In conclusion, the concerns about systemic inequality in India are deeply rooted and complex, touching upon caste, religion, economic status, and political power. While progress has been made, significant challenges remain. The path forward requires a commitment to the values of justice, equality, and democracy, values enshrined in the Constitution, and embodied by countless individuals who continue to fight for a better India. By staying informed, speaking out, and standing in solidarity with those who are marginalized, it is possible to contribute to the ongoing work of building a more equitable and inclusive nation.